Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Daddy Issues. Today we got on Ethan, and this is something out of a movie. You definitely want to take a listen. How we doing? Thank you for jumping on the pod, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you listened to any of the episodes that we've done, but it's kind of just talking about your story and giving some advice to other dads if you've already gone through it, if your situation's over, or if you're still going through it.
It's still in the process.
Yeah.
Right now, but it's near the tail end. So
that's good. Well, yeah. Why don't you introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about your situation.
I'm Ethan. I live in Florida. My soon-to-be ex-wife, her and I got together about 8 years ago. We moved down to Florida, and in 2016, we started working for the Department of Corrections in the prisons. Everything was fine. You know, we wound up getting married about 3.5 years ago. We had our daughter 2 years ago. We wound up transferring to a prison closer to home, and it was a women's prison. Everything was normal. You know, we had our fair share of little arguments here and there, you know, like every couple. And come beginning of October of 2022, one of my coworkers wound up calling me. He said, "Hey, dude, I have this crazy rumor that's going around work." I said, "All right." I said, "I'm not really big into the rumors. You know, I mind my own business, you know."
Yeah.
He goes, the rumor is your wife is going to be leaving you. So at this point, you know, her and I have had quite a few arguments. You know, I had talked to her about maybe doing counseling or, you know, something along those lines.
So it's kind of just getting worse and worse, like building up a little bit.
Yeah. So I was like, no way. You know, at this point, you know, our prison had changed from females to males. No way. You know, no way. If she's going to leave me, you know, it'll probably be for another officer, but I don't think that's going to happen right now. He said, "All right." I'm letting you know that's what's going around. You know, all the staff are saying it.
That's crazy.
I said, "Okay." He goes, "Oh yeah, there's one more part. She's going to be leaving you for this inmate." So my background, I do a lot of investigating. I deal with a lot of the gang members in the prison. So when he had mentioned this inmate's name, you know, the guy's got tattoos all over the place. He's a gang member. I was like, dude, no way. There's, you know, A, she's a good officer. She's not going to do that. B, the dude just, I mean, screams of trouble. Right. You know, he's actually one of our trouble inmates, you know, always causing issues, getting into fights and stuff like that. So something kept eating at me. You know, after you know, my best friend pretty much telling me like, dude, this is what's going to happen.
Of course. Yeah.
Something kept eating at me. You know, it was the lack of physical contact at home. You know, I try to give her a hug or something like that, and she would pull away, you know, like this.
Did you ever bring it up to her? Like after you heard it?
At that day when she had gotten home from work, it was actually my day off. I was doing some landscaping. I had said to her, I said, "Hey, you know, my buddy called from work and he said this rumor's going on." And she just looked at me and she was having issues with another female officer. And she was like, "Oh, it's probably that girl. She's probably just running her mouth because she doesn't like me." So, you know, I'm like, okay, yeah, she runs her mouth. I get it, you know. So essentially naive to the fact, you know, of course I'm going to take my wife's word over, you know, somebody else's.
Yeah.
But, you know, that factored in with her not wanting any physical contact from me or anything like that. You know, I had asked her finally that night, I was like, "Is somebody else showing you affection?" No. said, oh, okay. That's the signs that I was getting from her.
Yep.
So kind of sort of let it be for a couple of days, and it just kept eating at me. So I don't know how many people are aware, but the inmates get like these 8-inch tablets, and they can email, they can play games on them, they can play videos on them. They get a lot of privileges through those tablets. On our end, we can go in and we can read their emails, who sent them, from where, so on and so forth. I mean, it gets very, very deep into investigating stuff like that. So that Saturday, is it Saturday? I want to say it was Saturday because she wasn't at work. I just went in and I logged in and I went to this inmate's his profile, essentially, where
you can see all the
incoming
stuff.
and outgoing mail and stuff. And all of the incoming and outgoing mail was, to his sister, to his mom. And there was a name on there that stuck out to me, mainly because she had just met this girl in our town, and she had a kid same age as my daughter, and they would go to the park and stuff like that. We had different days off, me and my ex-wife. And I was like, that's kind of funny that name is
the name on the tablet.
So I click on it, and it was very vague. It was like, hey, I saw your mom at the flea market this weekend, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, how did she, if this girl's from the area that we live, but yet this inmate is from South Florida, how is that? The gears started turning even more. I'm like, that's just kind of weird. So I go into this girl's profile, and the mailing address was West Palm Beach. So okay, it doesn't matter. But the area code was the area that I live in. So I'm like, what? This is just weird. It's just nothing's adding up, So I print all that stuff off. I go find a phone in one of the offices, and I'm like, you're not really supposed to call the phone numbers, but I called the phone number. And as soon as I heard the voice on the other end, I just hung up.
No.
So the voice on the other end was my ex-wife's father, who had lived with us.
Wow. So
I hung up. I turned all the information in, because if not, I could get in trouble.
Yep.
I got sent home, and she was actually home, and I confronted her about it, and she was just cool as a cucumber. Oh, that's my friend. I helped her set up the account because she knows him.
Oh my God.
This, that, and the other. I said, well, let's play a little science experiment. And I was like, and I dialed the number, and his phone rings out in the living room.
Oh, so he was still living with you guys.
Yeah, he was still living.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was still living with us. So she's like, oh, well, we used my dad's phone because her phone broke, this, that, and the other. And, it was just excuse after excuse, but just really calm, and like she had thought it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a very thought out process. Until I asked her, I was like, did you do anything with him? And then she just snapped. What the hell are you talking about? You're out of your effing mind, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what made you snap like that?
Right.
To get out of the house. I can't just get out of the house and we'll figure something out. She wanted to take the car. I said, no. I said, get an Uber. I said, it's not. Nope. Get out of the house.
Was the dad in on it as well, or she was just using his? Yeah, she was just using his number.
Yeah, no clue. She was just using his phone. I guess essentially to make it look like she's not the one that set it up.
Right.
Which
right.
She did regardless.
Yeah.
So after 2 days of just going through like the emotions, I had called her up. I said, listen, come home. We're going to sit down and talk and try to get through this. Even at that point, I wanted to save our marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And you guys have a 2-year-old daughter as well, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Just for me, is it's for my daughter too.
Yep.
You know, she came home. She was home for a couple of days, and this inmate had gotten out on the 15th. That was his release date. So he was in prison for whatever he was in for, and he was just getting out a couple of days from me finding this out. You know, I said, let's do counseling, this, that, and the other. You know, she'd asked me, she's like, well, did you turn in all the information you found? Of course I did.
Yeah.
You know? So she wound up writing an email and just resigning.
Oh, wow. Can she get in trouble for what she did, or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
she can. Okay.
Yeah. There's 2 possible 3rd-degree felonies that she's looking at getting.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
They're felonies.
Yeah. So that would be pretty much prison time or felony probation. Yeah.
And what is that for? Like just speaking to an inmate, like sexually, or?
It would be. Let me grab my water real quick.
Yep.
It's actually considered introduction of contraband to a correctional facility. And then there's another one that's misuse of a 2-way communication device. So the only way they can hit somebody with that is if they're using a phone or a tablet or a computer in commission of another felony.
Yeah.
So they could hit her with those 2, at least from what I know. So back to her kind of sort of taking off. The morning that I knew that inmate was getting out, I had said to her, I was like, hey, I'm sorry, let me go back. She had said that she was going to take her father to like the VA clinic, and you know, I needed to drop my daughter off with my parents to watch her for the day. Yeah, it's no problem. And before I left, I said, are you going anywhere? And she was, no, why would I do that? I said, all right, I'll let it be, you know. I get home around 5:30, and her car's gone. Well, she was using a rental. Her car's gone. I text her, hey, what's going on? You know, everything okay? Blah, 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 blah. No reply. Sorry, she's probably out with her dad still. You know, at this point, I'm still naive to the fact. I wait till about 8:00 at night, you know, starting to get dark. I'm like, all right, what's going on here? Is everything okay? You know, reply to me. Nothing. Again, 10:00 at night. Hey, what's going on? Are you okay? You're not stuck in a ditch somewhere, or, you know, at that point, I still cared about her.
Right.
You know?
I mean, how selfish of her, though, at this point, to still not even be hitting you up in your work. You know what I mean? It's not even.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wake up at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Same thing. She's not home. Her dad's not on the couch. I'm like, what in the world's going on here? I call her like 5 or 6 times, no answer. So it finally clicked in my mind. Holy shit, she ran off with this inmate.
And your daughter is still with you?
Yeah, my daughter's still with me.
That's unbelievable.
So check the bank account. She cleared that out. Yeah. She cleared the bank account out. Which, you know, we had probably $400 or $500 in there. Just, you know, it was that Thursday, I think, that guy had gotten out. So we were getting paid the next day. So I wasn't too worried about it.
Yeah.
But I still didn't know where she was. So I called work. Hey, I can't come in. You know, my parents are out of town. I have my daughter, and my now ex is MIA. I don't know where she's at.
Yeah, because they obviously know her because she worked there and she had just resigned. So are they familiar with this, what's going on with the situation, or not yet? Because the paperwork still hasn't really been through.
Well, later on, I found out that there were issues that were going on, and they were reported. But me being her husband, they didn't want to tell me in case I was in on whatever she had going on.
Gotcha.
And, we worked separate areas of the prison. So it's not like I was hanging out with her all day or anything like that. We went to work and we did our job and we went home.
Yep.
So I call one of my buddies up. He's like, hey, you have T-Mobile, right? Yeah. He was like, go on the app, log in, and do like the Find My Phone thing.
Yep.
I said, okay. So before I did that, I looked at, recent calls and all that stuff. And she had called West Palm Beach, Florida, three different times. One at 9 o'clock, one at 11, and one at like 2 a.m. And then it really sank in right there. I was like, oh my God, this really is happening right now.
That's wild.
So come to find out, when an inmate gets released, we take him to the bus station. They get out on a bus. And I still remember the guy that dropped him off said that the guy didn't want to get on the bus. He's like, no, I don't want to get on the bus. She was waiting at the gas station where the bus station is.
Yeah, to give him a ride.
To pick him up.
Yeah.
She wound up picking him up in Tampa and driving to West Palm Beach with him. Through investigating and having her old phone, she went and bought him clothes at Ross. They hopped around. I wound up tracking her phone pretty much the entire time she was down there with him. Back and forth. It looked like they were probably selling drugs. I don't know because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But the movement of going from a house to an apartment complex, back to the house, to some shipping yard, back to the house, back somewhere else, just doing investigations, you kind of sort of can figure out what they're doing without being there, essentially. So she was down there for about 3 days. She had called me. She's like, hey, I want to pick up all my stuff. I'm going to be moving in with my mom who lives, 5 miles from here. I said, that's fine, but you can call the deputies and they can escort you to the house, because at this point, I don't know what's going through her mind. Did she bring this dude up with her? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is she going to say something? Oh, I hit her or something like that while she's picking up all of her stuff. I piled all of her stuff in front of the house. The deputies came, they stood there, and, she collected all of her stuff.
And still at this point says nothing about your child. Doesn't want to take her.
The whole time she actually blocked my phone while she was down there, because I had sent her a screenshot of the hotel she was staying at.
Oh, God.
With him.
Yeah, so she knew that you were.
Because I was just now it's to the point where I was I was out for blood, because this was like,
yeah,
I know where you are, I know what you're doing. She hadn't asked about our daughter at all.
That's wild.
Couple of days go by, I put in for file for divorce and stuff like that.
So all of that. So sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
From the beginning of when you found out a couple days later, and then you really find out, within like a week or two, and then you file for divorce. So this is all like sprung on you pretty quickly. Yeah.
It was very fast.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I found out the rumor on October 6th. October 9th is when I found out all the emails and stuff.
Yep.
And then the 15th is when she took off.
That's crazy.
And then she came back the 18th.
And then you're filing for divorce. I mean, all the emotions and your life just flipped upside down. I mean, that's incredible.
It was one of those things of, what did I do?
Yeah.
Did I do anything wrong? Was I not affectionate enough? I know a lot of guys struggle with testosterone issues. Come to find out, that's actually was one of my issues.
Yeah, but you could sit there and play that game with yourself all day long, and you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was in my own head, trying to blame myself.
Yeah.
When it wasn't even me in the beginning. It just, I don't know. I don't know what was going through her mind, if she was using drugs or whatever the case may be, which, I'll touch on that as well. So she hadn't asked about our daughter at all for, I don't know, probably a week and a half, up until the Thursday before we got paid. She said, "Hey, I'm going to take my check out of the
bank account."
Which I was like, "No, you left me and my daughter with $68,
right,
for a week and a half. No, that's not, I'm taking your check. Sorry, yeah. I have to provide for her, and I'll do anything means necessary to take care of her."
Yep.
So that Friday, I had gotten up 5 a.m, went to the bank, took all the money out, and she went on this tirade. "You took my money. What am I supposed to do?" So on and so forth. Up until about 2:00 in the afternoon is when she decided to ask about our daughter. So it was all about the money, all about the money, all about the money, all day. And then she flipped it and said, Oh, how's our daughter?
Oh yeah, we lost you for a second. Oh, say something. It came back for a second, but
Sorry. I got in a phone call. It's cut off there.
Gotcha.
So going through all the emotions, I mean, it was, when she was down there, it was severe depression, anger, depression, anger. I mean, it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now I suffer from anxiety attacks, which, I have to take pills for, because it's still a mess, in my mind, dealing with it and stuff. I have to go back to work in the same place that all this happened, and people know about it.
Right. Everybody knows. Yeah. But the hard part too, I would think, is now you have your daughter where you need to, it's just you. Like now you have to be like, how am I going to provide and work and do everything? And it's just me.
Yeah. Yeah. It is rough. It is rough. Luckily my parents let me move in with them just recently. So I can take care of financial stuff, and that way I'll be a little bit more stable.
Yeah.
For my daughter, of course. But yeah, it's been rough. She's under criminal investigation.
Wow.
So I had to basically be interviewed, as a witness, essentially.
Yeah.
It's taking forever for that investigation to get done.
Yeah. And she has zero contact with your daughter. Like she can't take her or anything. So
when I went to the lawyer, I did my dissolution of marriage, which is, that's the way Florida calls it. I don't know about any other states. And with that, the judge had given her supervised visitation.
Oh, okay.
She's allotted, which I just got back from not even 20 minutes ago. She's allotted 3 hours a week on my time. So whenever I decide it's okay to do visitation, it's $50 an hour for her to pay. And she only does an hour a week with her daughter.
Wow. And now, do you have to be there, or is it like like an attorney or someone that has to?
No, it's basically a church. So they have somebody that sits in with her.
Gotcha.
But she only does an hour of the 3 hours a week because she can't afford it.
Yeah.
It's to me, that's like you're making bare minimum effort.
Right. Yep.
She doesn't ask me, hey, does she need anything? Does she need diapers? Do you need money for anything? There's none of that. There's no support from her on that end, which I'm not expecting, but at the same time,
right. And you don't see that much where the mother kind of runs out and leaves the child. Yeah. I mean, I thought that's crazy.
You also don't see officers running out with inmates.
Right.
This guy's a 2-time felon, and he's also a gang member.
Yeah.
He's not some guy that had a DUI accident, and screwed his life up that way. This dude knew what he was doing. He was robbing people, you know?
Yeah.
It just, that part bothered me, you know, to the point where I was like, no, she needs to have supervised visitations or none at all.
Absolutely.
You know, because she's a flight risk.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't know, but I actually have a court case Friday where she's trying to get rid of the supervised visitations. You know, and she had the phone that I touched on, you know, the one that I was tracking and stuff like that. Back in December, she had tried me because I had said, listen, I want my phone back. You got a phone. I want my phone that I'm paying for back. It's on my plan. It's under my name. I want it back. Yep. I'll give it back to you if you let me see my daughter. No, you can keep that phone. Yeah. You know what? You can keep that phone because I'm not, you know, she showed up Thanksgiving night at my parents' house trying to, you know, I told her, I get lost. No, you're not. No. I mean, she had literally snapped. And I don't know what caused it, but she tried using a cell phone as leverage to see her daughter that, you know. So going through that, I had found her login for that account, you know, which I took pictures of and I forwarded it to the investigator. And then I had gone through her Google search history. You know, she had searched, you know, the bus station in Tampa. That's how I found out she had picked him up in Tampa and drove to West Palm with him. You know, among other weird searches. Back in September, she had looked up his star sign, you know, his horoscope. Yeah. And hers and relationships. And this was September. So this was going on from September. I didn't catch it until October. Yeah. You know, so it was an ongoing thing. I'm trying to think here. You know, and the next thing I actually have to touch on it with my lawyer is, she had looked up, where to buy fake pee. That was one of her Google searches. Oh, no way. Yeah. Cause he's getting drug tested. For her. Oh, she has to get drug tested. Well, not yet, but you know, I think maybe for a job or something like that. Okay. But you know, to me, okay, so now you're using illicit substances. Obviously, you're trying to buy fake pee to pass a drug test. I don't want that around my daughter. Yeah. And you're trying to get unsupervised visitation. That's not happening. Now, will the judge take that into consideration? Those Google searches like that? I would hope so. Yeah. I would hope so. You know, it's an issue. To me, it is. Oh, 100%. You know? I mean, when you start connecting the dots, especially when you were like, you know, she's going to this boatyard, you know, going back and forth. She just ran away with an inmate, all those things. When you start like kind of connecting them, it's like, yeah, I don't think she should probably be around a child at all. So. Yeah, no. And you know, the worst part, the thing that really killed me the worst was when I was going through all those passwords, you know, for the different accounts, and I found the account that she was emailing him from. The worst part of that really crushed me was the password was my daughter's name. Yeah. Damn. You know, so you used our daughter's name for the password for you to talk to this inmate, like that. There's no regard at all, you know, for her. And that really crushed me. But you know, she continuously denied it and said it was for her friend and this, that, and the other. But yeah, it's bad. Yeah. So what is she facing? I know you touched on it, but like, how many can she go to prison for? Like years, months? Like, yeah. Each charge carries 5 years. Oh my God. So that would be up to the judge to either run them consecutively or concurrent over something stupid like that too. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You know, and it's not like it's. You know, we've caught visitors bringing stuff in for the inmates. Yeah. You know, and they'll, not to say that they get a slap on the wrists, depending on what it is, but she was an officer. And you have to take that 100 times more serious. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. You know, it's like if somebody shoots somebody out on the street, they're going to see that a little bit lightlier than an officer shooting somebody out in the street. You know, they better have justifiable cause. Yeah. do that. They're specifically trained. I mean, we have trainings every year on staff and inmate relationships. It's take every year. So it's not
what's crazy is because you were touching earlier that maybe you didn't show her enough affection and all of this, and you're sitting with these same people every day, like the inmates, and eventually, I mean, what probably happened is he manipulated her and he started, showing her affection, and she was buying into it.
I mean, the thing is too, she was heavier set. I mean, when we first started dating, when we got married, all that stuff, and she went out and got gastric bypass. So she dropped 180 pounds within a year.
Yeah.
And, she was looking good.
Yeah, she was feeling herself.
And, I get it. But, I wouldn't be as mad if she ran off with another officer, or if she ran off with some dude that works at McDonald's, or I wouldn't be as vigilant as I am. It's that's a big issue.
Yeah.
So
moving forward, like, what's the, I know you said you're still going through it, but like, what's the deal with your daughter? I mean, you seem to have obviously full custody now. How much longer for court?
I have temporary full custody right now, until we get through the whole divorce process. She has supervised visitations, allotted 3 hours a week, which Friday we have to go to court over, her thinking that she's not a flight risk or that she's no harm to our daughter, which I completely disagree, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then there's like a whole parenting plan that I have to go over, which, I kind of sort of have a rough draft with my lawyer, but I have to go back over it and make sure everything's correct. Yeah. There's some things that are bad in there.
But she really thinks that she can get even a little bit of custody and take care of her child when she can't even pay $50 an hour to see her for 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah. I just, I don't see the judge giving her any.
I don't get it. It's again, like it's just weird things. She had uploaded on TikTok, when the good hits and you can see smoke coming out of her mouth. I'm like,
God.
You really
saved that?
Oh yeah.
Saved that video? Perfect.
Yeah. I saved everything.
Yeah.
I saved everything. It's heartbreaking, for my daughter. For me, I already went through my emotions,
right.
And recovered for the most part.
Yeah.
But, for my daughter, it's now she has to be dropped off 45 minutes away to see mommy for an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that takes a little bit of a toll on her. She's 2, but she knows, she's a smart kid. She knows what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing that I think that when this kind of thing happens is your child's still so young that when she grows up and, really starts having ideas and thinking about it, this is almost normal to her. So like, she'll know, you'll be the best thing ever. Being there full time with her. Her mom will just be that, I see her every once in a while, but I don't, when it affects a kid, when they're like, 10 years old and they already really understand what's going on and then they're kind of ripped apart from their families.
Yeah.
It definitely is more of a toll, but I think she'll be fine. I mean, it obviously sucks, but it's like, she's so young right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she doesn't really, and it is funny because the whole time she was gone, she didn't mention mommy not once. It wasn't, where's mommy? Cry for mommy. There was none of that, which, I thought was strange, but it just, it's for the better, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. And I can only imagine how hard it is for you as well to just full-time single dad. You have to work, you have to get stuff done. It's like, it's going to be a lot. I'm sure it is a lot right now. So
yeah, I mean, it is. I'm the type of person that looks for positivity and everything.
Yeah.
And I love joking around and having a good time. And, you see a lot of TV shows about prisons and stuff like that. And it's, you got the officers that are yelling at the inmates and dealing with fights and stuff like that, which, we do deal with, and we do have to yell sometimes, but I smoke. So at work, the inmates are not allowed to have cigarettes. So we have our own designated smoking area, and, I joke around with the inmates here and there, just to lighten things up. I mean, it's prison, and at the end of the day, they're still humans.
Yeah.
And they'll walk by. Hey, Sarge, hey, let me get a cigarette. But, hey, you got the wrong Sarge, and, oh, you talking about her, huh? Yeah. I mean, the inmates knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Knew. It's not just the staff; it was the inmates too.
I'm sure he's telling everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's to kind of flip it on them and make it into a joke. They get to see that it doesn't bother me,
that's good. Yep.
So they can't try to, give you a little jab or try to dig
get under your skin. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's their main priority working in a prison. That it's how can we screw with the officers?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been a rough road. It really has. It takes a toll on my parents too, because I had to take her out of daycare. And she was learning and she was having fun with other kids. I had to take her out of daycare. That was $600 a month.
Yeah.
So my mom and dad watch her pretty much full time when I'm at work.
Yep.
Which, it's thank God.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I don't know what I would do. And, all the dads out there, if they're going through it, I'm sorry. It's, I understand how rough it can be,
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough. I mean, it's just unbelievable. This is shit you would hear like in a movie or something. You would never think that it would actually happen.
It's funny that you say it. I had actually had a couple of people say that, and they're like, "That sounds like a movie. Like you need to like get with somebody." I'm like, I can't. I still like looking at the whole picture. I can't believe it still.
Right.
It's so wild that it happened. We've heard of female officers leaving, with inmates or having relationships with inmates and getting caught. And, you've heard of it. It's one of the stories that we use in our trainings and stuff. Don't be like this officer. But for it to happen at my prison with me, I tell all the new trainees, I'm also a training officer, so I teach them their job. I tell all of them, don't let this happen to you. Sure, you might have seen the video that we showed you. It happened to me.
Yep.
It happened to me.
Which is almost good that you're telling them that too, because you don't, not that it's, it's more personal stuff, but you don't want them kind of talking behind your back like this is some sort of secret. I would think, now it's out in the open.
This stuff can happen.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a wild ride, man.
That's crazy.
It's a wild ride.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. That is unbelievable. And please keep me updated on the Facebook group to let me know what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted everybody to know that, it's not always the guys that run off on their wives or their ex-wives or whatever. And, it's the women can be just as guilty. It might be harder for us financially, if you look at it that way, to where, men are getting arrested for not paying child support, whereas women, you're not seeing that as much, but, just maintain your course and, just be strong and get with your lawyers or however legal aid, what you're doing. And seriously, just hammer down on them, if that's what you need to do, and protect your kids. That's the main focus.
Exactly. Yep. At the end of the day, it's all about the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on and,
absolutely.
Keep me updated.
Will do, man.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
Later. And don't forget to check out daddyissuesusa.com. Let me know what you guys think. It's a website, hopefully to help single dads. Has a bunch of information on there. We just put it out, so any feedback would be great.